Hi everyone, it's Lindsey Britton here from Turas and welcome to Time to Thrive Live, where we look at how to help you bounce forward and thrive during redundancy. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 tips on how to stand out from the crowd with an irresistible CV. Now, I know you're probably asking yourself, well, surely this is important anyway, Lindsey. Yes, it absolutely is, but it's probably super important right now. Let me explain. I recently helped a client with the recruitment of her communications manager. I was in an advisory role in the shortlisting process and on the interview panel. For that particular role, she received 180 applications. 180 applications from which she wanted to choose 4 people for interview. That's a 2% chance to stand out and make the cut. So standing out from the crowd right now is really important. Here's 3 tips that I want to share with you that I've used over my own journey, either as a candidate or as a recruiting manager. So tip number 1 is powerful personal branding. So at the top of your CV, make sure you've got a really powerful vision statement. This is a statement of your aspirations, not your achievements, and kind of your show of mettle as a leader. Here's mine from my CV when I was a marketing communications leader. I'm just going to read it to you if I may. As a leader of leaders, my aspiration is for marketing communication departments to fulfill their true role as a trusted enterprise-wide business partner who champion the customer and directly contribute to the development of organizational strategy. In doing so, they can truly enhance the reputation and performance of the organization. My ambition is always to attract, develop, and maintain talented marketing communication practitioners with a work culture that is inspiring, engaging, encourages professional growth, job satisfaction, and loyalty. So that was my vision statement. Why was that so important? It's kind of like the first sniff test for a recruiting manager. It shows what your vision and aspirations are and sort of your alignment in terms of your values and aspirations to the organization, but it also shows what kind of leader you are and therefore you're fit for the role. The second thing that I do in terms of powerful personal branding is put in a testimonial directly underneath that vision statement. That will show the recruiting manager the evidence that you can actually deliver to that vision. And for me, I chose somebody in reasonable seniority at the time, which was my GM, to actually provide that testimony. And it was less about my technical expertise, although that was an element, but it was more about my leadership drive and my leadership impact. Okay, so that's first tip, powerful personal branding. The second tip is results over responsibilities. Don't overcrowd your CV with extensive lists of responsibilities. My recommendation is for each role, 2 to 3 responsibilities are enough and really concisely written. What's more important is actually how you delivered to those responsibilities. So the way I did that was in 2 ways. The first way was to reposition my role in terms of the problem or the dilemma I was there to solve, rather than a factual description of what the role was about. So it would have a title, the dilemma, the problem, and then a brief description of that. And then underneath that, I would have a second title, which was I called proof of the pudding. So that was the actual articulation of, well, what was the results? How did I solve that dilemma? And I made that very clear, very concise, action orientated, and measurable. So here's an example. Organization X faces significant reputational risk due to factors X, Y, and Z. Proof of the pudding. I enabled the reputation scores to increase by 3 points year on year. Very concise, very clear, very action orientated. So just reconsider how you look at your CV in terms of the description of each role. 3 responsibilities max. Reposition the context of the role in terms of the dilemma or the problem, and make it really easy to see, give it a catchy title or whatever, proof of the pudding, I called it, where a recruiter can very easily scan and pick up very quickly the impact you've made in each of your roles. Third tip is look beyond the glass ceiling. Now, what do I mean by that? Often, as marketing communication leaders, or even any other support services in corporate services like HR procurement, we're often pigeonholed as functional leaders, not business leaders. So, you need to use this opportunity to present your capability as a business leader. There's two particular competencies I would recommend. The first one is enterprise-wide thinking. So demonstrate your ability to see the big picture and see how different functions across the organization interplay. So an example of a proof of the pudding, if you like, would be I led an organizational wide marketing and communication strategy that bridged the gap between sales, procurement, HR, marketing, product, which resulted in a 1 million uptake in profit. That would be for the private sector. Or for the public sector, it could be X% uplift in trust and confidence and X% uplift in particular public services. So there in that statement, you can see that I have an understanding of the importance of connecting across those functions in terms of the deliverable I was creating. And secondly, that by doing that, I created an organizational wide impact. The second competency that I would recommend is commercial acumen. And that's about demonstrating your understanding of the market dynamics and how you contribute directly to organizational performance. So here's another example. I led a content marketing strategy that attracted high value clients, contributing to X uptake in product and sales, private sector again. I led a content marketing strategy that directly impacted the trust and confidence of the organization, the brand awareness, and X% uptake of public services and an attitudinal shift. So again, you can see that displays your understanding not only of the broader environment, but also how you contribute directly to the organization. So those are 3 tips from me, just in my experience as a candidate or a recruiting manager. So let's just recap. Powerful personal branding. Results over responsibilities. Look beyond the glass ceiling. Now, next week, I won't be with you, I'm afraid, as I'm away in the States at Mastermind in Arizona, where I'm going to be building my leadership academy for marketing communication leaders, which I'm really excited about. But I'll be back with you on Tuesday, the 10th of September, where I really be keen to talk to you about 3 tips on how to shine at interview. Don't forget that you can also get hold of my Thriving Through Redundancy 7-page information guide that just talks through some of the broader aspects of how to make sure you can bounce forward during this time. Until then, take care of yourselves. Kia kaha.